Moving forward, we have a new chainstay protector. This is designed, it's ribbed for What is up, Niners? Welcome to the Niner Garage for another episode of Inside the Nine. Today we have the brand new Rocket 9 RDO. Okay, so RKT 9 RDO, or as it's known here inside, record known time. We thought, naming it the FKT would have been a little weird because rocket sounds way better, faster, cooler. But record known time, or FKT, fastest known time, is what this bike is all about. It's a cross-country race bike. Niner introduced the original V1 RKT 9 RDO in 2015 at the very first Niner Fest. And at the time, man, it was a game changer. It had 90 mils of rear suspension, 100 mils in the front. And for the time, the geometry was pretty radical. So it was hailed as, this new generation of cross-country race bikes that had for so long been relatively generic. For 2022, we had two main goals with the new RKT. One was that it is a full-on cross-country race rig. That was a big thing for us. We know that people love their jets and their WFOs, but we didn't want to exclude the cross-country crowd. And the other part of that frame design was serviceability. We want everyone and anyone to be able to work on their RKT, whether it's right the night before a race, probably don't do that. Or if you have someone else working on your bike and you're lucky enough to have a mechanic, we want anyone to be able to service their bike and make it easy to do so. So why RKT over jet? Is it the best trail bike? Maybe not, but we didn't design it for that. Rigid post. These are all hallmarks of that cross-country race bike. The Jet isn't a great cross-country race bike, but it's a little bit better trail bike. That's where the differentiation is going to fall. If you're looking for that RDO, that race day only, that RKT record known time bike, that's what this is. This is our rocket ship. So what's different with the new RKT? Besides everything, we want to talk about some of the details that are going to differentiate that between the old bike and the new bike, and what makes the new RKT so special. Starting in the back here, we of course added the new Sram universal derailleur hanger. These are available worldwide from pretty much any bicycle retailer you can find. They're easily replaceable if you damage or break your hanger. The bike is, of course, boost front and rear. So 148 spacing, compatible with just about every wheel manufacturer and hub manufacturer on the market today. We've also moved the brake caliper inside of the rear triangle. This is going to protect the caliper. It also looks pretty awesome too. Moving forward, we have a new chainstay protector. It's ribbed to keep the bike quiet, but also protect that carbon chainstay. We also have added a couple of other rubber bits. Again, protection is the name of the game here on the drive side. Ahead of that, we've got the threaded bottom bracket. This goes back to that serviceability from earlier. We want you to be able to work on your bike. Again, if you're out there in the field and something happens, the bike's loud and creaky, whatever, we want you to be able to remove the bottom bracket, clean it, throw some grease in there, put it back in, no problem. We've got our standard cable wickets, similar to the Jet 9 RDO. Those are there to keep the cables out of the way, but allow the suspension to move freely. Also similar to the new Jet, we updated the linkage to a trunnion style mount. This is great for a couple of different reasons. One, it stiffens up the entire suspension linkage package, as well as adds bearings directly to the shock mount. And this helps improve breakaway force, which, with the added leverage ratio that we've done for the new Rocket, really helps small bump sensitivity. The new bike rides incredibly well. It's really supportive in the mid-stroke, but man, it is really smooth over some rough, sort of that rough, chattery terrain at the beginning of the stroke. Moving forward, we've got bottle cage mounts underneath the down tube, inside the main triangle, and our new bento box mounts on top of the top tube. This is great for longer races. If you're doing like a marathon race or a stage race, you can have tools or snacks mounted directly to the top tube right there for easy reach. That's about it as far as cool new frame features. There is the entry ports for the internally sleeved routing at the head tube there. That's going to be your rear derailleur, your rear brake, rear lockout, and dropper posts. Those are wonderful. They keep the bike looking super clean, as well as keeping contaminants out of sort of older traditional style where you'd have a break in the cable and the housing. A lot of gunk can get in there. This will keep everything running really nice and smooth. Moving on to geometry, the new Rocket has updated cross-country race geometry. We have a 68-degree head tube angle now on the bike and a 75-degree seat tube angle. We've also designed the bike around a flip chip in the lower shock mount. So if you want to slacken the bike out, you're totally welcome to do so. And it's going to change the geometry by 0.4 degrees up front and rear. It's also going to lower the bottom bracket by about 5 millimeters. So for those folks looking to kind of like trail out their XC race bike, we totally can with this new stuff. We've also added internally sleeved routing for a dropper post. If you want to add a dropper post on there, a lot of folks are running dropper posts in the World Cup these days, and as courses get more aggressive, having a dropper post is a huge sort of lifesaver, if you will. A few other frame features worth mentioning are the drain hole that we've designed underneath the lower shock mount. It's great for evacuation of mud, debris, water, whatever the case may be if you're in nasty race conditions. Of course, we have the standard Enduro Max black oxide bearings throughout. So again, smooth, stiff actuation of that suspension. And then last but not least, 2.5-inch tire clearance, front and rear, for bigger tires, again, if you're looking to sort of trail out your cross-country race rig. The suspension utilizes a Fox Float DPS with 100 millimeters of travel and a lockout in the rear, as well as a Fox Stepcast 34 and lockout with 100 millimeters up front. So again, really designed around the cross-country racing crowd. For those of you that want to trail out your cross-country bike, you can also run a 120 millimeter fork on the new RKT. So with the addition of possibly a dropper post and that new 120 millimeter fork, feel free to grow out your leg hair, grow a mullet, throw on your jean shorts and rally, because the new RKT will take any kind of terrain you throw at it. If it's a light trail ride, you've got the 120 mil fork on, or if you stay with the 100 millimeters front and rear and a lockout rigid post, it's a full-on race bike. The new RKT is kind of a jack of all trades. For 2022, the RKT is coming in 2 distinct flavors. This first one is a raw carbon, where you can actually see the flakes or sheets of carbon underneath the clear coat, faded to this beautiful sort of candy apple sparkly red. And the other color is going to be a raw carbon throughout with a nice clear coat and very subtle graphics treatment. Of course, all of our Rocket frames have the 9-year lifetime warranty associated with them. So if you have any questions, feel free to get a hold of us. That was the 2022 RKT9 RDO. We appreciate you checking it out. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and follow us on social media at Niner Bikes. We'll see you out there on the dirt.